Hello children, in this video we are going to see the history chapter 5 and the topic is craft and industries. I think it will be an interesting topic to you children because most of you all like the crafts, craft works and like wear the trendy dresses in a good quality materials, right? So let's see the topic, right? So chapter 5 in a history, crafts and industries. The topic is crafts and industries. Children, in this chapter we are going to learn about the reasons for the decline of the handicrafts in India in the 19th century and define de-industrialization and the de-urbanization and delineate in processes in India. Okay, and so there are two broad categories of fabric in the market, children. The handloom, one is the handloom and the machine made. So there are two broad categories of fabric in the market, and one is the handloom and another one is the machine made processes. So the machine made cloth is manufactured in bulk and is therefore cheap. Hand woven cloths on the other hand is expensive as making it is laborious and time consuming. So yet the government, Indian government and the various non-governmental organizations, that is NGOs, are trying to promote the sale of handmade fabrics. So why do you think they are doing this? So do you think handmade cloth should be given preference over the machine-made cloth? Have a discussion. So did you know India once prided itself on the production of the finest quality of handmade fabric in the world? So in this chapter we will learn about the history of the Indian handicraft industry and how it is collapsed with the coming of the British. Okay. This is an introduction of the crafts and industries. In a pre-colonial times, India was a flourishing center of the craft and industry field. So there were several skilled artisans who were engaged in the different kinds of industries. In the cities, they worked in the workshops or the karkhanas, while in the villages, they operated some homes, helped by the family members. So this system of production was known as the cottage industry. So the coming of European trading companies and the eventual establishment of the British rule in India, there was a gradual decline of the traditional industries in India. So this process is known as the de-industrialization, was largely fueled by the Industrial Revolution in Britain. And the next topic, the Industrial Revolution in Britain and the de-industrialization in India. So the artisans and the craftspeople in India received a lot of patronage in the pre-British era, both from the rulers and the autocracy. So this began to change with the establishment of company rule in India, which in turn coincided with the period of the Industrial Revolution in Britain. So as a result of the Industrial Revolution, children, Industrial Revolution, the Britain began to make the large quantities of different goods and especially textiles. So these industries needed a continuous supply of raw materials. So the agents of the English East India Company began to force the Indian peasants to grow cash crops like the cotton, indigo, tea, coffee as a raw material and sell it to them at a low prices. So the goods produced in the British factories also needed the large markets. So the British began to aggressively promote the sale of their factory mode goods in India. They imposed the heavy duties on Indian goods entering the Britain but exempted the British goods entering in India from the paying duties. Children, I am going to show some video about the Industrial Revolution. Let's see the video in the British period. So these are the works was formed in that period of the British company. So these are the videos about some of the works done by the British people and also maintained by the British government. These activities are making the some industrial revolution. It was made by the British people, and it is one of the cause of the industrial revolution on that period, children. So let's see the next topic. The next topic is the goods. So already I told you, this made the already cheap British cloth cheaper still. This policy was known as the one-way trade. One-way free trade, right? So with the decline of the traditional industries, many artisans lost their jobs, like the craftsmen and the pot makers and etc. So they also lost the patronage of the autocracy, as the British had stripped them of their wealth and the power too. The prosperous centers of craft like the Dhaka and the Murshidabad also went into the decline. So this process of decline of urban centers and the migration of people from cities to villages is known as the de-urbanization. So once again I tell it again. This process of decline of urban centers and the migration of people from the cities to the villages is known as the de-urbanization, right? And the gradual process through which the economic activities move back to the agriculture from the industries is known as the deindustrialization. So did you all clear about what is the de-urbanization and the deindustrialization, children? So the process of decline of urban centers and the migration of people from the cities to the villages is known as the de-urbanization. And what is the deindustrialization? The gradual process through which the economic activities move back to the agriculture from the industries is known as the deindustrialization, right? So again I will show some videos about the craft works and the industries works in the British period. Okay, children, let's see. So this video shows the industries works on the British period. See how they made their cloths, how they made the thread works used by the machines, and a lot of heavy works, heavy industries was there, maintained by the British people. So this video shows the history records. This is one of the main history records of the British peoples. And another one video, it shows the making of yarns, that means the dress materials, right, from the cotton. We wear the dress, and the materials, the cloth materials are made by these processes by the machine works. This is the process of making the yarns for making the dress materials, that means the cloths. Thread works, this is the industry of the thread works, making the threads in the British period, not now. Okay, children, so let's go to the next topic, the Industrial Revolution, causes and the impact. What are the causes to make the Industrial Revolutions? What are the impacts? So the Industrial Revolution took place in Britain in which century? In the 18th century. So the Industrial Revolution took place in Britain in the 18th century. It refers to the transition of an agrarian economy into an industrial and urban one. So the earlier manufacturing was done in homes with the basic handmade tools. As a result of the Industrial Revolution, manufacturing shifted to factories and came to be dominated by the machines. So, the invention of machines like the spinning jenny, the steam engine, and the flying shuttle radically increased the quantity of goods that could be produced at one time. So, these inventions led to the formation of many new factories where the goods were produced on the scale larger than even before. The production of goods became faster and cheaper. So the new industries employed a large number of people who found it convenient to settle around the factories. As a result, new towns and the cities emerged in such areas. So this industrialization led to the urbanization. So the Industrial Revolution also led to the development of better transport networks, including the railways, as the raw materials like the coal and the cotton had to be transported to the factories and the finished goods had to be taken to the markets for the sale. So the constant need for the cheaper raw materials like the cotton, silk and the indigo dyes and a market for the finished products led to the scramble for the colonies. The Industrial Revolution thus also fueled the colonization. So these are all the topics covered by in this chapter, and this is the part 1, children. What we learned from this topic, let's recap the topics. First one, the deindustrialization and the deurbanization, and the Industrial Revolution in Britain and the deindustrialization in the India, and the one-way free trade. Okay, and then the Industrial Revolution causes and the impact. So these are all the topics covered in this chapter. This is the part 1 of this chapter, children. Crafts and industries in the history. Okay, chapter 5, crafts and industries. This is the part 1. So hope you all understand very well in this topic covered by this video, and we will meet in the part 2 session. Thank you, children. Thank you all.